Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gopakumar. The last one, I like it, where you're asking fire department to insist for NEC report when they come for renewal. I think we have a lot of fire department heads in this webinar, and it's a good suggestion that while a building get into fire. So whether NEC test was done, when was it done, and what kind of rectification has been carried out. It's a very detailed, presentation you have made, which actually, in 45 minutes to cover the whole subject is not possible. So I once again appeal to Gopakumar, if we can structure into series 1, series 2, series 3, it will be wonderful for all the audience to get little in-depth about it. And making buildings safe from electrical fire is very, very at most important. And you compared the rest of the country with India, the 790 electrocution, it is just a reported. If you look at unreported, it must be 10 times bigger. So to make our nation great, to make our country safe, so following electrical safety is most important. I also have an expert comment from our Santosh Warik to comment on the presentation. What do you think, sir, before I take up the questions?
It is well presented by Mr. Gopakumar, as always. He is an authority, as holistically he present different grassroots level requirements of the codal requirements for better electrical safety in the building. And it is an eye-opener, actually, the way we use to cut the corners and do the things at various places. Maybe the service provider, maybe the electricity suppliers, and maybe the internal electricians, or the issue is of Me Too products also. We are facing a lot of reason why we are facing this overloading issues, the electrical short circuit, failure of conductors, so which leads to electrical short circuit and electrical fires. So it's a very excellent presentation, and as suggested by Dominic, we request you to go occupancy wise for the better safety of the electrical safety, right from hotels, hospitals, business buildings, and the residential ones also. So that would be a better approach for the learning point of view. So many questions are also there. So yeah. I would request Dominic to take it.
It's challenging. Let's cover as much as possible. Actually, this overloading subject came, after 2019, I would say, when the COVID really hit, and when everybody stayed in the home. And we knew how much, and hospitals and the hotels. So frequent fire started happening in many residences also, because we were loading the equipment, overloading the entire electrical circuit. So now there's much awareness on why this overloading and why this electrical short circuit keep happening. So I'll start with the question, Gopakumar. I think this question is for Mr. Santosh Warik from Balam Murli. How can one identify an electrical fire is because of short circuit? What are the preliminary symptoms?
So normally, electrical short circuit happened due to the, as already explained by Mr. Gopakumarji, it is due to the failure of the conductor. Resistance in the wiring, electrical wiring is the issue. The failure of conductor is the issue, and overheating and overloading, hotspots identification. These are the common reasons for electrical short circuit. And normally, wherever electrical appliances are installed, adjacent to it, if the combustible material are stored, or normally in industries, it is a regular practice that the clothes are stored, or the combustible papers are stored near the electrical panels, and that creates a problem. Temporary electrical connections also issue, wherein you have only one plug and you try to connect more appliances on it. which leads to the overheating, overloading, and failure of conductors and lead to the electrical short circuit. So it's as it is a phenomenon which is continuously happening. You have to monitor the good practices, housekeeping in the each and every area, so that such things should not happen. So electrical fires is a phenomena wherein source or sparking is happening through the electrical circuit, but adjoining fires adjoining combustible area leads to the flammability of the material, and the fire starts.
Sir, I have request to Ishwarayar on the chat box, long questions, and many questions are on the chat box because this chat box doesn't come on record. So I would request you to just post. If you look down on the screen, there is a Q&A box. If you can just copy that and paste it in your question box, I can take it up and it will be on record. That, and even if you're not able to attempt to take up your questions, Mr. Gopakumar off the line can answer your questions through email or something. So please try and post your questions only in the Q&A box, not on the chat box. Okay, I'll move on. Prakash, I would not like to take this question, but you're asking what are the qualification or the key points to start a career in electrical safety audit. I would like you to, write to, I have mentioned the email ID of Mr. Gopakumar. You can write to him. He will probably guide you to, how to start your career as an auditor. Pramod Dwivedi is asking, he is asking to share the PPT. Definitely, PPT will be shared to everyone. Vinod, what are the preventive measures need to be followed by industries during reopening from COVID-19 lockdown to avoid fire accident? Please throw some light on this context. So we'd like to take these questions.
Yes, you see, as I said, there are these testings and the inspection part. We are supposed to any facility which is under closure for more than 6 months. The regulation 40 says we are supposed to do the retesting. The easiest way is to do some of the, not all the inspection and testing, but some of the inspection and testing points. If you do, in case of any trouble such as loose contacts and all, you can very easily find out. You have to make a small test, few of the tests. Example, fault loop impedance test. So worldwide, this is what is carried out. We need to have the practice of testing, but we don't do this particular test. Is the main point. Over to you, Mr.
Priya Patel is asking, can you share REC document? As I said, I will try to post it here on the box. If not, please write to me or Mr. Gopakumar. We'll share this REC document. Vinod is asking too many questions, so I'll pick out of 5. I think there are 6. My God. Okay. I'll pick one question, Vinod. Rest, we will try and answer you on offline. In case of electrical fire in our house or apartment or a colony, what are the safety action need to be taken at immediate point of time? Kindly share do's and don'ts of handling electrical fire in domestic area. I think this is also do's and don'ts. It's a big document. We have certain documents. We can share it to you off the line. And remember, if in case I forget, you can write to me. So I'll take Riaz Ahmed. Could you please put in some light on arc flash hazard in electrical installation? Over to Gopakumar.
Yeah, you see where people, those who are working in live conditions, example, you are opening an electrical panel and you are doing something, but in live condition. But of course, in live condition, you are not supposed to do such maintenance. But under certain condition, if you are doing a live maintenance, or if you are opening a panel board, your basic insulation is lost, there is a chance that people may get electrocuted, or in case of any fault, there can be an arc which is generated within this particular panel. So number one, you are supposed to wear the appropriate arc flash suit or the dress which is strong enough to handle the energy produced from that particular arc. That means we have to find out how much energy can be produced from that particular location, and we have to take the preventive measures before working in live. So this is practically required in industries when you work with live conductors or in a live condition. Normally this is not necessary. However, for the low voltage purpose, arc flash hazard or arc flash studies are not it is yet to be included in the IEC standard. The modern standards are saying that there is a device for smaller applications such as bedrooms and all. You are supposed to use Aafbd, arc flash detection device. It looks like an MCB. In case of any arc, this device will trip.
Question from Bhushan. Gopakumar sir, for LT consumer premises, commercial or residential, we must follow NBC 26, isn't it? Is asking, should we follow NBC 16?
No, for LT consumer premise, it is, NBC is mostly related to the civil structure or the structural part of the particular building, or some of the electrical items which is becoming, which is related to the civil structure is covered in the NBC. Not explicitly, all the points are not covered in the NBC. For example, lightning protection is very well covered in NBC because the modern method of lightning protection is to use the foundation steel. So after constructing a multi-storied building, you cannot really do lightning protection. So those things are included in the NBC. But for electrical system, you should refer NEC, National Electrical Code. There is an upcoming National Electrical Code which will be published probably in 3-4 months. So, or you can also refer the IA 732. Actually, this is what is written. This is the regulation also says you must follow NEC.
Sir, Gaurav Musale is asking, which method used for zero resistance earthing?
Oh, I really don't understand what he meant by zero resistance earthing.
Okay, Gaurav, probably you can clarify a little later on his mail ID. I'm asking Lakshmi, who's assisting us, to just mention Gopakumar's mail ID so that he can clarify that later. I think Gopal Mishra ji is here. Hope it's same Dr. Gopal Mishra. Do we have any scope to improve the circuit design to avoid short circuit over and above what is prescribed today, including international best practices?
Sir, the international best practices are, as I said, it is already explaining 100 points. We are not even following 10. So first, let us follow at least 50 of the international, or let us follow the 100 points of the international best practice. Then we can think of additional things. Additional things are such as, the arc flash study or the thermography. I would say fundamental safety and additional safety. First, you do your fundamental safety, then you can do all the additional things. Our problem is our fundamental safety itself is missing. So even doing additional safety measures is of, I would say, not of any use. So first, the basics should be correct.
So you mean to say that we don't follow even 50% of the international codes on electrical?
Of course, yes. We are not following the, as I said, the IEC standard 60364, which is followed globally, all the countries. The equivalent is IS 732. 1989 of IS 732 has written 10 different testings to be done in an electrical installation before you put it into service. We are not even doing one.
Oh.
For example, in the new 2019 IS 732, earth electrode resistance, earth pit resistance measurement has been removed because earth pit, be it 1 ohm or 100 ohm, it doesn't matter to safety. So that has been already removed. But still, the only test which we do is the earth pit resistance measurement. So I would say all the other 10 tests which is mandatory is not done. So yes,
very surprised. There is probably high opener for most of us that we don't even follow even 10% of the international standard. I think there are a lot of questions. I think most of your question is asking for detail of what precaution to be taken. Do we have a document? I think most of the question that you ask, we have certain document that we can provide. Once again, I request you to write a mail to us. We'll provide you those do's and don'ts for battery.
Actually, Mr. Dominic, I was just looking at one of the question of Mr. Vinod. He says, what safety precaution shall we follow for inverters and batteries in domestic house? Yeah, this is actually, lot of fire accidents, plus even I'm sure you must have seen the fire in the Prime Minister's security office 2-3 years back. That was from an inverter. So, plus these inverters are creating, backfeeding the power to the electricity supply, and the linemen, those who are working on the roadside, the overhead line, they are also getting electrocuted. So, the code of practice says if you use an inverter, the phase and the neutral, both must be isolated. In the sense, you have to have a two-pole separation of the inverter circuit and the neutral circuit, or inverter circuit and the main circuit. But what we follow across India is we use the common neutral system. That means the neutral conductor, which is used for the entire electrical system, is shared for the purpose of inverter. As a result, backfeeding happens. As a result, fire happens. As a result, electrocution happens. This is included in the IS 732 with the pictures, and it has very clearly written not to use those inverters. But so that means you are supposed to use an inverter which isolates a line and neutral. Unfortunately, that kind of an inverter is not available in India.
Sir, Gopal Mishra ji again is asking, is the problem today is more of management issue than the design?
I would say both. Actually, management in the sense, I know a lot of places where plumbing engineers are designing electrical system. Because things have gone to that easy. People think that the electrical system anybody can do. That kind of an attitude. So the real seriousness is really missing. You know why the seriousness is missing? Because the awareness is quite poor. Most of the engineers, the safety engineers working in the field, they even doesn't heard of this 10 testings which is written in the standard in 1989. So the managements are not aware. As a result, the common thinking is, electrical system is quite easy. You have 2 wires, and if the current comes, everything is okay. And the size of the wire shall be enough to carry that particular current. This is the mentality. So as a result, safety is not at all taken care. So our management, from the management, including the designers, the way of thinking should change. Now, if we advise them to think, change, of course, nobody will change. But if the fire department can take action, 2 or 3 cases, automatically the system will improve.
Sir, Riaz Ahmed is asking, what are the contribution of harmonics in electrical fire hazard? How to address?
Yeah, it is not much as we presume. What is required is if the third harmonic or if the harmonics is higher in the neutral conductor, if the conductors are overloaded, the protective devices are supposed to disconnect. That means more than certain higher harmonics, you are not supposed to use the circuit. Let's say, for example, the neutral conductor in normal condition, it can carry, in the last circuit I am saying, it can carry 100% of the current. But in certain application, the neutral current will be much higher. In that case, you are supposed to put additional conductor. You can double the size of the neutral conductor, but that is not the solution. The solution which is recommended and followed internationally is neutral overloading must be identified and the phase conductors must be disconnected. So that means the neutral current must be measured and the phase conductors must be disconnected. This is the only method. Otherwise, harmonics are not the main reason for fire hazard.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we will be sharing this entire video recording to all the people who have registered. We have almost now 1,175. So recording will be shared. The PPT will not be individually shared because we have a recording which you can go through it again and again. And later, if you have any questions, you can you can either write to me or Mr. Gopakumar. I'll move on to Mohan Munawar. Can breaker coordination study help in reducing fire in electric sources?
No, that is not the only point. It is one of the 10 tests, I would say. Balance 9 is also required.
I don't know what Rajesh Patel is trying to put here, whether PIL can help fire department. What is Santosh sir? What is asking PIL? Is it a filing a PIL will help the department, or is it an electrical word called PIL?
It must be public interest litigation only.
Public litigation. Of course, public interest litigation is what moves many things in the country. So you feel that any of the building is not following certain, electrical safety or fire safety, PIL definitely will help. Sanjay Mulay, in industry, which system earthing, TT or TN, yes, to be done?
It is TNS with the additional safety features. The Indian code IS 3043 says TNS with the additional fault return path. So for an efficient disconnection of the fault. So it's TNS. Over to you, Mr.
Tanmay is asking a very interesting question. Can we, as electrical contractors, add the missing link between the pen and the consumer earthing?
Yeah, I have posted a PDF file in the chat box. I will post it again. If Ms. Lakshmi is having that particular file, please post it again.
I have it. I don't know. I could do that. I'll try at the end. I will post it in the chat box before we leave the seminar. I'll post and people can just download. I don't know whether it can be downloaded from the chat box. If you not get, please write to us. We'll definitely share that. Sanjay, once again, Sanjay, in TN, yes, cost of earthing goes up in industry, while in TT, we need to go for earth leakage protection required. He's giving an answer?
Yeah. What he is saying is to reduce the cost, TT can be done or not. Of course, in an industrial system, if you go for a TT, actually your machines cannot work. Because if you go for a TT system, you are supposed to use a 30 milliampere RCD. And this RCD will create nuisance tripping. So even if you have a small electrical apparatus, TT is not workable. That is why TNS is the recognized practice. Also, if you have solar PV, rooftop solar PV, TNS is the best.
Oh, thank you, Lakshmi. That I can see in chat box, you have uploaded the PDF document, two document, part 1, part 2, which our participants can download from the chat box. It's a quite interesting article there. And Rajamani, do you conduct any audit and give recommendations for electrical safety to improve? Yes, of course, Mr. Gopakumar, do that. Audit and give recommendation. Is it not, sir?
Yes, of course. So we are doing a lot. We are doing a lot of audits, and actually this was not our business, but because of my classes, I'm doing this IS classes on the modern safety measures for the last 5-6 years. A lot of people started asking, and now we started doing, but most of our audits are, explaining the user how he has to do the audit. So basically,
train the teacher, train the teacher, something.
Yes. Because, this is not one test or one system. There are 10 tests and 18 inspection points. Now we have developed a software which is under testing. Probably in a month time, we are actually wanted to put this software into service on our 25th year, February. We have developed a beautiful software with all my knowledge, whatever I know, plus the support from some of the IEC members where I am participating. So this software, if you go step by step, you will be able to fulfill the requirements of the standard. Otherwise, making the whole test, if you don't know, it will be a very difficult task. So this tool will help you. Very soon we will do it, and it's free. So people can log in and you can start doing it.
Oh, that's a wonderful news, sir. Sir, Bhaktavathsalam Umapati is suggesting kindly discuss on electrical flash over due to low voltage and high voltage faults and required safety standards. So we require a dedicated in-depth webinar. I think.
Mr. Bhaktavathsalam, sir, actually this it is a subject where we need to talk at least 2 hours. So this is a deep subject. Of course, from the electricity safety point of view, any fault on the high voltage system shall not create a shock or a fire hazard inside the building. For that, the electricity supply company has to take care. If you have LT line, if you are a high voltage customer, you have to take care of it yourselves. The maximum allowed voltages are 1200 volt at the low voltage installation for 5 seconds in case of a fault on the high voltage side. More voltages are not allowed. But as I said, this is a big subject. We are actually under a campaign supported by BIS and the CEA. We are doing a campaign called Vidyut Surakshit Bharat Abhiyan. A lot of training classes we are doing. These are actually 8 hours or 12 hours class. So in those classes, we are explaining those subjects. I would recommend that you please try to attend those classes to have an in-depth, deep knowledge of that.
So
In after this COVID, I have conducted almost 752 hours class on various subjects.
So send us some link where we can send out to all the participants or people who are registered to attend this class. So if there is a method for them to register and attend, it will be wonderful. So we can share that to people who are in this forum. Again, Pramod Dwivedi is asking, kindly share testing equipment's name by which we can do testing and verification of tests and its sequences.
Yeah, actually, all the tests, there is no equipment which is available which can do all the tests. Of course, I think some of the modern test instruments you can do all the tests, but for a small house, it is available with companies like Fluke. Then some of the international companies, they have got it. So far, I think no Indian company is making it. Probably in near future it will come. So, for example, you can Google installation tester. So the simple name is installation tester. Means a tester, a meter which can test all the electrical parameters in an installation. It's not a multimeter. Please understand.
Rajamani is asking: is there any such thing that the earth electrodes erected as lifetime, particularly chemical earthing for BE?
Actually, there is nothing called the chemical earthing. It's a beautiful marketing word, an attractive marketing word where people are running behind. Earthing has nothing to do with the earth pit in soil inside your building. How beautifully you are making interconnection between different metallic objects is earthing.
What are the type? Tirumala Rao is asking, what type of earthing is required for transformer?
Actually, we cannot take a standalone transformer. A transformer up to the last socket, TNS, we are supposed to follow TNS. You can refer the document which we have shared just now. The details are included in these 2 documents. Please go through it.
I think Prakash Kamath is recommending to Santosh Warik, who is an authority in Maharashtra, why not make electrical audit compulsory instead of recommending? Licenses should be issued to electrical auditor and listed on portal just as a fire protection agent, fire protection agency. Though it is not your department, but is recommended. Good idea, good suggestion.
Yeah, good suggestion, but it is a central regulation, and state do not have any powers to create or recommend something in the amendment of the act or the rules. So it has to be drawn from the central act and rules itself. If they have got some provision related to audit and the frequency of audit, then only it is possible to implement it. At present, it is the owner or occupier's will. For the better safety, they carry out such type of audits. For normal things, only the certificate issued by the PWD electrical license contractor certifying that all the electrical systems are checked by him and it is found in a good working condition. So that single certification is taken by the fire authorities and the renewals are granted. So unfortunately, there is no check on the qualification of that tester and really whether he has gone through the different load criteria and the safety protection requirements installed in the electrical circuit. So that one has to really, a separate checklist should be there properly right from the transformer to the up to MCBs. So all check should be there and it should be certified by him whenever periodical, after every year or twice in a year, depending upon the crucialness of the installation. So that should be there. So it is a well suggestion. I think Gopakumar can add on it.
Yeah. So I would like to add a little bit. The regulation 5A 2015 amendment has included chartered electrical safety engineer. The state government is supposed to appoint chartered electrical safety engineer. That means the electrical inspectorate is supposed to qualify people or list the people. In Maharashtra, the electrical inspectorate has conducted the training or the test, I think, during last December, and out of 230 people, 5 has passed. I think the result has come yesterday or day before yesterday. One of my friend also got qualified. He is working in Cummins, so he is an active member in one of our WhatsApp group. So it is going to come. So every state government is supposed to make this chartered electrical safety engineer, but unfortunately only 3 or 4 states had done that. Almost 6 years back, the regulation has come. We are yet to implement it.
Sir, Dr. Gopal Mishra ji is asking very important question. He's saying fire department. You know that every fire department in the country is a state and sometimes municipal corporation handles the fire department. Fire department comes once in 3 or 4 years, 5 years for renewal. How should ensure safety in between? What is the responsibility of electrical department then? So in between these 3 and 5 years, how do you ensure electrical systems are perfect? Because fire department sometimes comes, sometimes doesn't come. Is it
I think answer is already given by Mr. Gopakumar. Already there is a provision in the Act itself. So state has to implement it because fire officers are not qualified for the electrical safety point of view. So we need some certifying agency, either third party or from the government side, who can really certify the system and on which we can rely upon. And it is for the everything, means electricity is required for the means fire systems also, fire hydrants, sprinklers, then for the lifts also, for HVAC also, and for other services also. So from all these aspects, considering all these loads, one has to really check the system. Otherwise, only up to the transformer level, if somebody is certifying, then it is of no use. So this question is very valid from the holistically, right from your transformer to the end instrument level. It should be checked and certified by some responsible person. Qualified person also. Responsible plus qualified. Yes.
Very good answer, sir. So Yashwant Nalawade is asking, in electrical fire, how can we extinguish the fire? Is there any chance of electrocute to the firemen even after disconnected the electric supply? So what is Santosh, sir?
Yes, normally after the protocol is to cut down the electricity in case of electrical appliances, then normally you can utilize water also. But in some cases, there is a issue of static electricity is there. So there is a possibility of, if you are utilizing the hard jet or solid jet on direct live appliances, then electrocution is a hazard for firemen. And we have to really, there are different methods. We can use the spray system wherein you can avoid the solid jets, or you can use water mist kind of a spray for the to safeguard yourself from the electrocution.
Gopkumar, you have some solution?
Yeah, actually every electrical apparatus which is having certain charge internally, for example, capacitor. Once when the supply is disconnected, this device is supposed to discharge the contained energy within certain time, within few seconds or within few minutes, the energy has to be made zero. But if these discharging things are not working, firefighting will be a real trouble. So this test, this is also one of the tests in the 10 test which I have mentioned.
Right. So Sanjay Mulle is asking, in equipotential bonding checks, is there any value of resistance to be followed? Is there any table in IS or IEC standards?
Of course, yes. A lot of places this is very much important. Say, for example, in a hospital, between two metallic items or between two biomedical equipment, the maximum resistance allowed is 200 milliohm. So like that, depends on application to application. It varies.
So
all the IS and IEC standards are mentioning these values.
So Tanpal is asking, how ELCB different from MCB, or both are same?
Both are different. ELCB is anyway, the word ELCB is no more valid because it has been replaced with a new name called the RCD, residual current device, RCCB. ELCBs are nowadays not used much except the CBCT phenomena. ELCB is protecting only against an earth fault, whereas MCB will protect you against overcurrent, short circuit, and earth fault in a TN network. So both devices are different.
So our friend Ishwar Iyer it's a long question. I think I need to read very carefully. During the last week of October last year, following the one Avigna Park fire, the BMC was urging housing society in the city to conduct electrical audit, given the fact that 70% of the fire incidents are due to electrical short circuit. Ms. Ashwini Bide, Additional Municipal Commissioner of BMC, informed the Standing Committee that BMC was in talks with the state government to develop regulatory mechanism for mandatory electrical safety audit and for Maharashtra Fire Safety Act to include provision for mandatory electrical audit. When can we expect the legislation to come into force? This question to Mr. Santosh Warik.
So, Dominic, already I have told you, the state government is looking after the fire subject as per the constitutional provision, and electricity is the central government subject. So whatever the already Mr. Gopakumar has highlighted, there is a provision made in the Electricity Act and rules itself for the conducting audits. So that can be taken, and already he has told that the state of Maharashtra has already conducted the examination and enlisted the fire safety auditors, not fire, but the safety auditors for it. As far as the Maharashtra Fire Act is concerned, as per the provisions of National Building Code, definitely we are considering the amendment for having the fire safety audit. But in that, electricity will not be there. It is only from the fire and life safety point of view for the every building, because electricity, lift, these are the all specialized subject, and there are separate statutes available to govern that. So we cannot encroach, or we cannot have the cross references of that provisions regulating the electricity in Fire Act. So that will be governed by respective electricity codes and the electricity acts and the rules of the state country.
Hope that answers Ishwar, that clarifies your question. I'm moving on to Chaturvedi Narasimha Murthy. Sir is saying, we are providing 3 earth for distribution of transformer, one for relay, one for neutral, and a other for remaining points, and all are interconnected. Is it correct to connect the LA earth to interconnect with other electrodes?
Yeah, of course, it is correct and it is mandatory. It is necessary in the future, especially up to 33 kV. Instead of connecting the lightning arrestor to an earth electrode and interconnecting all the earth electrodes under the soil, probably may not work. The transformer still will be at risk. So what you are supposed to do is you can connect the lightning arrestor earth bus bar directly to the tank of the transformer. This is already included in the IS standard, which is adopted from IEC, of course. So the amendment in the regulation probably will come very soon. For the other extra high voltage application, what you are saying is correct. So low voltage, we have to, up to 33 kV, we have to make a small change. Over to you, sir.
Sudhir Singh, is it possible to install PAT in existing electrical system of commercial building? If yes, then how?
Actually, this PAT is a portable device. It's like a device which you can carry in your suitcase. So if you have, for example, in Australia, what they do, if you buy a refrigerator, before putting the refrigerator into the socket, somebody will come with this tester and he will put the refrigerator into the socket of this particular device and he will run the test. The PAT instrument will give two stickers. One is green, you can connect your device. The next one is red. If it is red, you cannot connect that particular device into your socket. That is the system. PAT, actually, the question, if you are asking, it is a small instrument, like size of a suitcase.
It is a commercial building. You can do it for residential building. You're saying refrigerator connect or any large electrical appliance within the house also. I have not seen anybody before we plug the expensive appliance, we test with the PAT. Is it a common practice?
In Europe, Americas, and developed countries, yes, it's a common practice. Whereas normally, if you buy a new appliance, the itself will do the testing in front of you and he will give the certificate. The shops or the showrooms, they will do this testing. Whereas, the basic 10 testing itself is missing in India. So this is the 11th.
This is very important. I think that PAT test is very, very necessary because we don't know how the building thing and the supply. But when you such an expensive, like you buy a 65-inch TV, which costs a few lakhs, and before plug-in, if you have something, say green is okay, you can plug in, red not okay to plug in. It saves the equipment, it saves lives also. I think 11th test is, I think you should push it to the third or fourth test. It's important to do that test.
No. If the first 10 is missing, this 11th is of no use.
Absolutely.
You should do in the sequence.
I think for me, we come from the fire. So many. This subject seems to be so much ignorance, so much. I would say we are neglecting such an important topic on awareness on basic fundamental that on electrical safety. It's missing very much. Okay, we have FSA, FSIF, so many. We are talking about fundamentals on fire, but I don't see much with talking about fundamentals on electrical safety. I think we should do many more program. At least our fire fraternity people are, here majority are from the fire side. Whenever the safety word comes, all the fire experts and people are interested, they come. But I think we should do this very interesting subject continuously. The series 1, series 2. Even I am learning out of this session much. Rajumani, how to improve the earth conductivity in an already erected earth electrode where the resistance is raised. Any chemical treatment is required or change of electrode is required?
As I already explained, the earthing has very little to do with electrode in soil. That is why this testing itself is removed from the standard few decades back. You don't need to spend your time on this particular thing. If you look at the resistance of the earth electrode for a residential purpose, if you use a 30 milliampere RCD, the resistance can go up to 1666 ohms. So a resistance of 100 ohms or 200 ohms doesn't matter. So you don't need to spend a lot of time on this particular thing. Instead, you ensure that all the interconnections are made pakka, especially the metallic items such as metal pipe, firefighting pipe. Have anybody saw a metal firefighting pipe connected to the earth bus bar with maybe a small wire, 6 mm wire? Of course, no. So those things are actually required.
Okay, Thirumal Rao is asking, please share IEC standards related to industry. I think this should be available.
The highest standards are available. You can go to the sales portal of Bureau of Indian Standards, and you can you make your username, create username password, and you can download that. Some of the standards you have to pay some little money. For example, the lightning protection standard, the original standard cost about 20,000 rupees, whereas from the BIS website you can buy it at 2,500 rupees.
Oh, huge difference. Huh?
Yes.
So can you repeat that portal, sir, once again?
Sales portal Bureau of Indian Standards. You can Google sales portal Bureau of Indian Standards. Then you will get the link for that particular site.
Okay, hope Thirumal Rao, it was useful answer to you. And Ram Pandey and Sukada Pandey, like me, they're asking, give me more details of PAT.
PAT, the full form is Portable Appliance Test. The idea is you have the fixed part of your electrical installation. That means you have all the items which is permanently connected to your electrical installation. Now, the products or the electrical apparatus which you are going to put in a plug. Portable means it is a product which is movable. So whatever the products which you are using in your house which is connected to a plug, you are supposed to do this particular test. So that's it.
Okay, so Pankaj is asking, why we use 24 volt, as it can also be source of ignitions or spark?
Yes, of course, 24 volt, if current is high, of course it can create a spark or it can create a fire. But generally for small application, it's not. As I said, a power source up to 15 watts is not supposed to create a fire accident. That means if the 24 volt supply, if the current in the electrical apparatus is lesser than, let us say, 0.5 amperes, the chance of fire is less. More than 0.5 ampere, of course, the chance of fire is there.
So Shankara Subramaniam is a very valuable suggestion. Why electrical appliance in India is not having any information on electrical operating duty, in bracket hours? I feel that overloading due to continuous operation is one of the cause of electrical fire. Public or the user should have the knowledge of the appliance duty and use it accordingly. Is it possible?
No, the electrical design standards for apparatuses ensure that the appliance, in case of any internal problem, especially the line to neutral or line to line problem, the appliance is not creating any fire. That particular test is already ensured, and each and every electrical apparatus is supposed to have internal protective device. That means in case of any faulty items inside, there is an overcurrent, the fuse is supposed to disconnect. Now, also as a result, in case of any fault, the electrical apparatus as such cannot ignite fire. That is ensured. If the product is ISI marked, then that is ensured. Now the problem is, imagine you have an air conditioner. The air conditioner, sometimes it starts fire. Why? Because sometimes the internal devices are not operating. Number two, if there is an earth fault in the air conditioner, the internal protective device are not supposed to, it will not work because earth fault disconnection is depending upon the external protective device. Imagine air conditioner, there is an earth fault and the external protective device didn't operate. Of course, there will be a fire accident. As I said, if the supply can be disconnected within 3 seconds, the chance of fire is absolutely nil. And the standard recommending disconnection time is 0.4 seconds. So, if these rules are followed properly, of course, electrical equipment cannot create fire.
So we have 90 questions. So I'm going to take only next 3 questions because time is 12:51. And 90 questions is, I think, I've not come across so many questions in any webinar, which shows people are so eager to learn, eager to understand. One must appreciate that participants are quite eager to learn. So 90 questions, what we'll do is, after these 3 questions, so we will answer one by one offline to your mail ID. We will have your data and we'll take time and to answer to these 90 questions. So I'll just take Pranab, which I also find interesting. Hi, sir. Can we use Aafbd with integrated Rcbo for fire prevention in hospitals? I'll repeat, can we use the Aafbd with integrated Rcbo for fire prevention in hospitals?
You can use
what is Aafbd, because I don't understand what is Aafbd. Yeah.
Aafbd stands for arc flash detection device. It looks like an MCB, a portable, a DIN rail mounted device. Rcbo means a combination of residual current circuit breaker and the MCB. So the question is whether this device can be used in the hospital. Of course, you can use it, but if you use this in the operation theater or in such critical areas, the disconnection will create a problem. For example, imagine there is an operation going on. You have an UPS, you have an alternate UPS in case of trouble. You have a DG, maybe 2 DGs, and the backups are very good. But imagine in the distribution board, the MCB tripped. The patient will be in trouble because in a normal operation, heart operation, about 20 plus biomedical equipment are connected to the body of a patient. If the MCB trips and if there is no power to those equipment, then you can imagine what is going to happen. So for that particular application, disconnection is not the solution. Continuity of supply is the solution. So wherever you require continuity of supply, you are not supposed to use this combination. Wherever continuity of supply is not necessary, you can use this combination, Aafbd with the integrated Rcbo.
Sir, Tejas Yadav is asking a question to Mr. Santosh Warik. Sir, is it compulsory to follow CO2 flooding system in panels as per Electricity Act?
Electricity Act, in the panels, any extinguishing means system you can, because of the Kyoto protocol, carbon to reduce down the carbon footprints. Now we discourage CO2 flooding system. So alternatives are available for the total flooding system. So it is better to have an alternative adoption. There are tubing systems are also now installed, but unfortunately these are not the standard ones. These means Bureau of Indian Standard do not have any specific standard on this. So, but they are widely used in vehicles basically, and small confined electrical panels for the solution of total flooding. Aerosol is the another alternative which can be utilized as an alternative to the carbon CO2 flooding system. So aerosol system is widely used in major panel systems.
Okay, sir. Pujari is asking question which is relevant to today's situation. As the usage of inverter are enormously increased due to work from home for software professionals, online classes of students and all that, as the neutral of inverter are not being earthed at consumer end, due to this, is there any flow of written current through neutral to electricity board lines? Please explain.
Yes, of course. The neutral current may return back to the electricity board line, and which is creating electrocution. Actually, a lot of such accidents are happening across the country. It has nothing to do with, or it has not much to do with the neutral earthing at the consumer end. Actually, it has something to do with the isolation of phase and neutral. Actually, if you follow my this Facebook or the LinkedIn page, I am posting such answers for such questions quite frequently, because people used to ask questions, and these common questions, the relevant pictures with explanations like the paper which I have just shared. So these are available. I can give to you. So you can also send me a message or an email so that I can forward this information to you.
So there are a lot of demand for your book, The Missing Link. I think Ishwar is GK's Gopakumar mail ID is very simple, gk@capeindia.net. So you can just write to him. Probably he will let you know the publisher or where this books is available. I'll take the last question. I don't know who's the lucky one to get this. Vinod, we answered many things. Okay, I'll take from Deepak Ghosh. I'm sure he's the Deputy CEO of Mumbai Fire Brigade. Last question from Deepak Ghosh. If testing as per NEC is not followed before electrical installation, how the installation is getting approved? Why not any action initiated? Who is the electrical authority or agency that monitors and responsible required to take action?
It is a very, complicated question to answer because, I work with a lot of electrical inspectors. So technically speaking, the electrical inspectorate of the state government are supposed to do it. But this is actually a flaw in our system. The electrical inspectorate's responsibility is up to or above the notified voltage. So there is a thing called a notified voltage. State to state, the notified voltage varies. So electrical inspector's responsibility is to look for the electrical application above the notified voltage. Plus some additional things such as generators, because generators can backfeed the power and the people and the distribution can be killed. Plus solar PV and some special things. So technically speaking, the low voltage electrical installation inside your building, no one is supposed to, legally there is no one to take care of it so far. As a solution, the 2015 Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer has been introduced in the regulation. Now slowly implementing it. Probably it will come very soon. But here also there is a issue which I am foreseeing. Mostly, the electrical inspectorates are asking the Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer to study the regulation and write the question. Unfortunately, his job is to test the electrical installation which is inside the building. The regulations do not explain much about that particular part of the installation. So you should follow NEC and IS 732. If the test is conducted as per the NEC, National Electrical Code of India, and the IS 732, of course, by the Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer, then his certificate has to be submitted to the electricity supply company for getting the electricity supply. Once when this system is in place, a lot of improvement is possible.
We need to conclude. It's almost 2 hours time. I'm so happy that still participants are listening. And generally, when we conclude speaker PPT, it's all fizzle out. But this session I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed the participants' active participation in asking questions. And I can see chat box still questions are coming. I think GK's mailbox will be fully flooded today. I think he will not be able to sleep today and tomorrow till you answer these questions. And a wonderful session, sir, and with great respect to our Santosh Warik, who always, there is no formal email I have to write to him to, generally people ask, send me a mail, let me check up my calendar, I will get back to you. But he's person with one phone call, he says yes. So I am very humble with his simplicity and always ready to share knowledge along with other speaker. And as Gopakumar, you're doing a wonderful job, and there are a lot of indirect way you're contributing to nation building, I would say. And your sessions are always wonderful. And thank you so much. And today's session is supported by Fire Safe India Foundation, which is a society to create awareness on safeties and also makes various acts and standards available to the public. And the focus, the Forum of Critical Utility Services, where I deeply involved in it to bring in all the professionals from various critical services to come to one platform, because the building need to integrate all the services, whether electrical or air conditioning, plumbing, or fire, we all need to integrate, because to every building need to be smart and intelligent. So unless we all come together as professionals in a one society, we cannot achieve this dream. So thank you very much. Thank you to FSIF. Thank you to Focus. Thank you to Maharashtra Fire Department. Thank you to Santosh Marik sir. And of course, Cape Electric and Gopa Kumar. We look forward to see you again in very soon. We'll come out with series, and I hope you all enjoyed. I will share this recording very soon by Monday or Tuesday. I'm sure the length of this video is 2 hours. It's like a movie that I need to create and republish. It takes time for me to edit and send it to you guys. So have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Don't be a victim to this, Omicron or COVID. I look forward to see you again very soon. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, sir. Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gopakumarji.
See you, sir. Bye, sir. Bye.